White. McInally's got in behind people. He was not offside. Looked very quickly over to the linesman. Terry Butcher wasn't happy about that, but it was a chance for McInally. Free kick, surely, yes. Free kick to Celtic. Paul McStay. The player is McInally. Oh, poor effort there by McInally. He had players inside him to running forward. I think he made the wrong decision to have a goal like that. Ali McCoy's definitely getting a set to it, but no pressure in the Celtic defence. Roy Aitken had all of 20 yards to play with there, standing well behind Rangers attackers. Butcher, McStay picked it up very well indeed. And Jimmy Nicholl using the old heat, not being ruffled. Fraser. Aiken read that brilliantly and he wants to come forward. Aiken. Nice little ball to Johnston and it's off. Now McGee brilliantly saved and whipped away. Up comes Shepherd. And now Rangers on the counter-attack. What a marvellous bit of football. Cooper. One of a crowd picks him off now. Great run there originally by Aiken. Superb finishing pass. Almost put away by Johnston. And really for the first time in the game, Celtic did look menacing. Jim.
I think the goalkeeper actually touched that one onto the post, and if so, it was a magnificent save. But the extra defender with Roy Aitken coming from the back. Terrific pass here. No, I don't think the goalie got a touch.
He certainly got it there all right, that mattered too. One of the best moves in the game. And Rowe just puts it away. Ali McCoist. Aiken, Ferguson, beautiful play. Jimmy Nicholl now. Nicholl for Rangers. To Cooper. Pat Bonner calming everybody down. He had unbelievable saves against Dynamo Kiev. Superb game he had. McInally, McGee, Monroe goes with him. Celtic now looking very promising, but crowded out. Here's McGee, and a corner kick. The Rangers defence on the right there. And this is where they'll be put to the test and how valuable the experience of men like Nicholl will be. As we approach half-time, there's only a minute and a half on our watch of official time of this first half. It's the looking one, and it's just over. McInally. Either McInally or White got that final touch. Let's have a look. Up they went, and it was White, I think, yes. Cooper. Put away by White. Maurice Johnston. Another good period for Celtic this. How vital it would be for either side to get a goal at this stage. And he kills it round again. Always a chance that the goalkeeper would make a mistake for a ball like that, Jim, with people running in on him.
If he does, Celtic will definitely score because Celtic's always got players following up. They definitely get far more players.
Brilliantly taken down by Cooper. Now McMinn. Rangers will get the corner for that.
Celtic always get far more players in the box than Rangers are so far this game.
And Davy Cooper will take this. Pat Bonner defending the goal with the Celtic support massing behind him. Cooper to take this. Waiting for Butcher to get right up. There's the header, and I think the half-time whistle is gone. Yes, it's half-time. There is no scoring in this Gold Cup final. Paul McStay, one of the fine players we've had on the park, and I'm sure Jim will agree with me, even as the game is very evenly balanced, it is good to report that it has been an attacking game of football, and some of the youngsters are playing like veterans.
All right from the word go, both teams have been out there to prove that they're the best. And I think one of the outstanding players so far has been the boy Derek White at centre-half. I think he's had a tremendous match.
Saw Graham Souness having a rather testy exchange there with the referee, complaining about something or other, and just led away quietly. But there, that's the position at the moment. We'll be coming back, of course, to the commentary position. Meanwhile, downstairs, Dougie Donnelly has Andy Gray with him, and let's see what Andy thought of that first half.
Yes, out here in the relative cam of our studio at the back of the main stand. That was a marvellous first half, obviously, Andy. What's your impressions on the first 45 minutes?
I thought the way the game started was unbelievable, Dougie. I mean, for a cup final, you expect people to be a little bit tentative, maybe a little bit nervous. There's so many young lads out there playing today, and you'd have thought they'd maybe take a little time to see how the game was going. But both teams have got straight at us. Jim McLean said there hasn't been a negative thought in any player's mind. It's all been positive. Get forward. Let's try and win this game. We want to show we're the best. And, you know, we've been sitting here and thoroughly enjoyed it. I wish we were only out there on the ground. That's the only thing. But I've thoroughly enjoyed the game. It's been a great advert again for Scottish football.
Which is a great thing, because there are something like 40 million people going to see this game from throughout Europe and South America and the Middle East. And as you say, a great advert for the game. And I think a good point you made, Andy, that there's so many youngsters out there. Derek White, Jim McLean mentioned, he's 18. He's only just 18, and he looks as if he's been playing cup finals all his life.
That's right. Derek's had a tremendous game. He's made a couple of tremendous interceptions, and I'm sure he'll be delighted, because I think if in the last game he had a bit of a poor game against Ted McMahon, but today he's been absolutely outstanding at the heart of the Celtic defence and made 2 excellent interceptions. The boy Ferguson as well, I've been very impressed by him in midfield, and the little boy Ian Durant. Again, 2 young kids that have done very, very well. I think probably the only youngster, the little boy Shepherd, has taken some time to get into the game, but I'm sure he'll benefit now from having 45 minutes under his belt.
Yeah. It was a funny sort of first half, because it was all Celtic in the opening 10 minutes, then Rangers had a very good spell for maybe 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and towards the end it was Celtic that were doing all the pressing.
As Jim said, it's balanced on a knife edge. Celtic started tremendously well, and we thought, well, they're going to do something here. Rangers got hold of the game for 10-15 minutes and had a couple of good chances, and then Celtic have finished the game, the first half, tremendously well, and could have gone 1-up.
Well, let's take a look at one or two of the incidents from that first half then, and of course there were 2 incidents of the ball striking the woodwork, 1 for each side. The first of those was Cammy Fraser's shot from the free kick, which hit the post early on, and what a shot it was too.
Yeah, everyone knows how good Cammy is, I think, striking the ball from these distances, and Celtic must have known it, and he's no fears. He goes up. It's a great shot. I don't know whether Pat Bonner got a touch, and I think Alan McCoy still probably think he should have done a little bit better, but a tremendous strike from Cammy, and anywhere in that range, and he's going to have a go.
Now he, of course, is in not match fit, possibly, because he's not had a game. He's been injured.
He's looked all right.
He's looked all right, hasn't he, for somebody whose fitness was in a little bit of doubt.
Yeah.
Do you think Rangers are missing Graham Souness, Andy?
I think anyone with Graham's ability you're going to miss, and I think Rangers have missed him. But as I said, I've been very impressed with the 2 boys in midfield, like Ferguson and Durant, and that's probably cushioned the blow a little bit. But they definitely miss someone like with Graham's ability, and I think as the game goes on, if it's still 0-0, the longer the game goes on, then the missing Souness influence will come in even more to the fore then, I think.
Ted McMahon, now, he was the star man in the last time you were up, Andy, for the league match at Ibrox, which Rangers won, and he gave Derek White a bit of a roasting that day. But today he's not been quite so effective, largely due to the fact Murdo McLeod's played him so well. We'll maybe ask you about that in a second.
Yeah.
But he did have 1 great shot from about 25 yards out, which only just slipped past the post.
Yeah, this is what he's capable of, Ted, isn't it? I mean, he can be out the game for such a long time and do nothing, and then all of a sudden, you know, the ball just gets played to him in a position really where you don't expect him to be doing anything. He just slips past the boy and has a go, and that's very close. I mean, it's so close that Pat Bonner scrambling across his goal.
Yes.
So he thought it was very close, and it wasn't far away.
What about Murdo MacLeod, who again his fitness has been a little bit of doubt. He didn't maybe look 100% on Wednesday against Kiev, but he's had a marvellous game.
I'm a great fan of Murdo, so I like Murdo. He's my type of player, and I think he's been brilliant today. He's coped with Ted McMinn any time he's came on the right wing. So much so that Ted's wandering about. Actually, he's not particularly holding this right side, which he did so well in the Old Firm game at Ibrox. He's wandering in the field, and I'm sure it's purely because he thinks he's not going to get much change out of Murdo. And Murdo's had a tremendous game, in my opinion, anyway.
The Celtic midfield possibly had been a little bit of a disappointment for Davy Hay. I'm just thinking the McClare, McStay, Shepherd hasn't really quite come off for them yet, and maybe that's where they're losing out just at the moment to Rangers.
If Rangers have had an advantage, it's probably been in that midfield area. But Paul McStay now, near the end of the last 10 minutes, has got himself more into the game. I thought he was very quiet early on, but the more the game's gone on, the more influence he's taken on in the game. And in the last 10 minutes, Paul himself could even probably have scored late on there in the first half, and he had that snapshot. But he's taken more control of the midfield, and you probably see a lot tighter midfield from Celtic second half.
Right. Well, the one incident which I think possibly came closest of all to giving us a goal in that first half was at the moment when Big Roy Aitken came charging forward and caused all sorts of havoc. Maybe we'd be looking to do that more often in the second half.
I was surprised that Roy didn't look to do that more often in the first half. You know, he's got the ability to do it, and he busts forward here and slips a tremendous... Mo holds his run brilliantly here, tells him where he wants it, and that's a great finish. It's so unfortunate. It's a tremendous finish. But to be fair, Chris Woods has done tremendously well at the second attempt there, when I think it was Mark McGee had the shot. But that's typical Mo Johnston. He's had a quiet game, I think. Archie was saying how he hasn't been in the game much, and he can just pop up, and before you know it, you're one down. And that's very, very typical of him. But I think if Celtic are going to go at Rangers, I think they can do it with Roy Aitken, strangely enough. He's got the ability to go forward and let Derek White sit there and mark Ali McCoist. And I think, you know, just in that one instant, it showed how important it can be, and it just might win a cup final for them.
That's right.
But it's great. I mean, again, we can't talk enough how good the cup final is, about people going forward and wanting to win it. I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
That's, I think, a significant fact, the Roy Aitken coming forward, Andy, because in the semi-final he did it against Motherwell here, scored an absolutely classic goal, rounded it off himself in exactly that type of run. And as you said, there's no one actually playing on him. There only is McCoist going through the middle at this stage, so maybe he's going to have the room to come up and do that. I think he will do, and I was surprised that he's left it so late in the first half before he's taken it on himself to go forward, break forward. But I think that'll have given him confidence to think, well, wait a minute, I'm going to have a little go at this second half. I might just get something here. And I think he probably will burst forward a bit more second half. I'm sure Davy Hay will be telling him, listen, Roy, if you get a chance, go on. Let's see a bit more of that. Let's see a little bit more of Derek White, Andy, because I think we've all been very impressed with Derek White. And his timing in the tackle has been very impressive this afternoon. Now, this is an example here.
Yeah, for a very young lad, I mean, he's got a bit of stature about him. And I think this is Davy Cooper goes on a tremendous run. And if he beats Derek here, he's in. You know, he's right through. If you look there, he's right through. But he's timed the tackle to perfection. And that must have given him tremendous confidence. You know, for a young lad, he's dived in, but he hasn't, you know, and he's gone on his backside, if you like. And if he gets past him, then he's right through. But he's timed it to perfection. And Celtic have come away with the ball. Great tackle.
We've had a couple of bookings, Andy. Roy Aitken and Big Alan McInally for reasonably innocuous fouls, both early on. And I think a word of praise to referee Davy Syme for nipping it in the bud.
I think Davy Syme said to himself when I got out there, if there's any nonsense early on, I'm booking. No matter who it is, I'm booking him. And I'm going to show that I'm the boss here. And I think the referee's done particularly well. I know Roy will feel he's a bit aggrieved at 2 nothing tackles, and probably Alan McInally as well. But it's significant that they're the only 2. Very early in the game, he's only booked to 2. The rest of the players, I think, have responded from that. And he said, well, let's go on with the game.
He's letting it flow.
It's not me. Yeah. The game's what everybody wants to see, not me booking players. So he's stamped his authority early on, and the game's gone and taken over now.
Right. So there we are at half-time then, it's no scoring. I wonder just in the 2 dressing rooms just now, Andy, whether either manager's contemplating any changes either in the way the game's being played, maybe bringing on some substitutes. I mean, Rangers have got 2 youngsters really, Robert Fleck, who's been in goal-scoring form, David McFarlane, the youngster as well. Celtic with Willie McStay on the bench as well. Any changes?
One can never tell in football dressing rooms what's happening at half-time, but at the risk of sticking my neck out and getting it shot off, I would be surprised if there's any changes this early in the game. You know, especially with it having to be decided today, Dougie, with extra time and possibly penalties. I think both Davy Hay and Graham Souness will maybe hold back the substitutes to a little bit later on in the game when they say, like, maybe bring the boy Fleck on, Graham, if he feels he's got to get back in it, I've got to go and win it. And I think it's just a little bit early now. I'd be surprised, actually, if they bring on any substitution, unless, of course someone's carrying an injury, of course.
Right. Well, I think we all said before the game we hoped that this Skull Cup final wasn't going to be settled in penalties. It's a kind of unsatisfactory way to win a trophy. But the way it's going, it could very well go that far.
It could well be. It could well be. I think both managers have come out and says, listen, we don't want it to go to penalties. I think the players have responded and they're saying, we don't want it to go to penalties. It's totally unsatisfactory. And they said, let's get a winner within either the 90 minutes or the extra time. And let's hope that we do get a winner within that period.
Be a brave man that chose which end it would come at.
I certainly wouldn't choose, I'll tell you.
Me neither. Let's look for some more action in the second half as we've enjoyed in the first half. Marvellous cup final. Let's go back out again and savour some of the atmosphere as the teams prepare to come out for that second half. Once again with Jim McLean and Archie McPherson.
Thank you, Dougie. As always, for an old firm game, we have people coming from all over the world, and would you believe, having a cup of tea with some friends in a local hostelry just before we came across here. I actually met a gentleman who's a member of the Falklands Islands branch of the Celtic Supporters Association. I also know people who've flown in to support Rangers from Canada, from Toronto. Might very well be sitting or standing in there in the traditional Rangers end. That is the kind of following that these two clubs attract. It is always marvellous, as I said, for a Rangers player to know that you have that kind of affiliation by so many people around the world. No matter where I've gone in football business, I've always bumped into Rangers and Celtic supporters all over the place. And Roy Aitken leading out Celtic and heading down towards the Rangers end. And Celtic will have the benefit of a win. I'm just looking at the corner flags at the moment. I'm not sure if it's as strong as it was at the start. It doesn't seem to be, but of course Hampden is notorious for a swirl and for the sudden winds that blow up. But Rangers certainly had a distinct advantage with that wind in the first half. Well, Jim, I don't think Andy said anything that was inconsistent with how you've been analysing the game for us so far.
Well, I think that that's probably the first time in 15 years that a player's ever agreed with my assessment of the game. But I think it's been an easy game to assess, actually, because I think there's been a lot of good players out there today.
Interesting point that Andy made about substitutions and how it wouldn't come so early in the game. In fact, I thought I saw McMinn indicating something to the bench, almost as if he was suffering some slight discomfort. And I'm just wondering if either he or Fraser cannot possibly last too long in this match.
I couldn't make up my mind what it was either, because I thought that it was his boot that was burst. But it was we've too far away to...
Off go Rangers into the second half. Ali Dawson playing for David McPherson in the centre of the defence, and now Nicol. Both defences have looked extremely confident, of course. Just little glimpses, as I said, or as Andy reiterated what I said about Mo Johnson, who seems to go along in total obscurity and then suddenly flash into a game. That's why he's so good. There's a touch by him again. Now Monroe, who's had a very good first half for Rangers.
Ali Dawson has looked very uncomfortable in there.
Monroe, he's shot with that. There's Derek White. He's been saying nice things and accurate things about this big youngster. Douglas Fraser. McClair. Typical McClair run, it looks good. And mopped up by the goalkeeper again. Yes, Brian McClair. So very often you see him doing that, Jim.
That's one of his big assets, and I honestly think he's a better player from just off the front when he gets running at defences.
Sprightly start all the same by Celtic. Touch there by Durant. Cooper. With one or two absolutely excellent runs, and that is just over. I think Paul McStay imagined there might have been a deflection there. Here's Cooper. Grant comes away with that, and a foul by Cooper, yes. Free kick.
Referees are put under unbelievable pressure with players know which way the throw has gone there. It's ridiculous if Paul McStay to actually try and get a throw in for Celtic there.
Aiken now to take a backward push free kick. There's Paul McStay, who, as Jim suggested, had an incredulous look on his face when the throw was given the other way.
Well, I don't think he's anything like the worst in Scotland, but far too many players put pressure on the referee when they know there's no doubt about the way offences should go.
Butcher stepping neatly, and now McMinn. No, he wanted Fraser to go a run on the outside. And coolly back by Butcher. Read that long ball very well. Lee Morris Johnson was careering down the middle. Butcher. Fraser. Chinico. Round the side it goes, and McMinn will never get that. Goal kick. McMinn hasn't really looked his exuberant self. He's made an enormous impact on Scottish football this season with his rather flamboyant way of approaching the game, but he's been very subdued today by comparison with some of the games, certainly by comparison with the game he played against Celtic at Ibrox. And oh dear, any longer there and it's hypothermia, I think, on a day like this. I don't know how he got up. Ferguson, that should be brushed away. Derek Ferguson playing usefully for Rangers in midfield in a role that certainly would have been filled by his manager Graham Souness. Well, Ali Dawson, Jim, he got his head to that one. That was more confident touch there by Dawson, and Ian Durrant rather bogged down in midfield for Rangers at the moment. McStay. McMinn tried to touch it round, and there again. Youngster, Derek White, okay, the pass did go out, but he broke up the move.
He's human after all then.
McCoist. Here's Durrant. Fraser. On there by Durrant. Fraser, and there's nobody there for Rangers. Neatly built up. And there's Butcher. Brilliant clearance by Butcher to Cooper. It's round the side and there's too much in it. And a point there in that initial move, Jim, that move by Durrant. There didn't seem enough players in the penalty area. I think Celtic, as you suggested, would have had more in there.
Well, Celtic have basically got players that want to play in the box. Rangers have midfield players that are trying to get in the box, but they most certainly don't.
And there's a better pass to McCoist, then he's offside.
I think we're now reaching the stage shortly when lacking match fitness, if there is any of the players out there playing with injuries or lacking in match fitness, it will begin to show shortly.
So we'll keep our eye open for that. Shepherd. Asking somebody to come towards him. McStay. Aiken. Nice ball by Aiken. Shepherd. Oh, beautifully done there by Ferguson. Now McCoist. Got away from his marker, but he couldn't make any ground at all. Here's Monroe. To Butcher. McMinn is shaping to come in for this, but Murdo McLeod is there. McInally. Run by McInally. Here's McGee. Oh, and that's short. And it's just person, I think. What has been given? Yes, a tackle on the goalkeeper. Free kick to Rangers. I think he had to go for the ball though, Jim, hadn't he?
The referee's brilliant there because some games, because the goalkeeper is injured, some referees may have booked Brian McClair there, but to me, he had to go for the ball. I think that everybody would reckon that Maurice Johnson and Roy Aitken are always the most important players in the Celtic team, and I wouldn't disagree with that, but I would say that very close behind, Murdo McLeod and Brian McClair are very, very important to the manager. Because of the
McLeod?
Yes, because of the positions that these players both fill for the club. Murdo McLeod, I'm sure they would be confident of playing him as sweeper, any of the two full-back positions and all the midfield positions. And then Brian McClair, you can pull him back into any of the midfield roles and you can push him up front. So no matter who gets injured, these players are adaptable and can move about and turn in tremendous performances in any of the positions we've mentioned.
I think meanwhile the goalkeeper is slowly recovering. Little word there between Inez Greensunis, who went off a very angry man at the end of the first half, looking anxiously towards his goal mouth. However, Chris Woods recovers. There's McInally. Oh, nice little ball by Fraser. Good play by Rangers. That's Ferguson. Here's Cooper. There he goes. No free kick. No, it's a good decision by the referee. That looked like a hand. Yes, it was.